I am 28, F, and my fiancé, Mark, is the kindest person I have ever known. My older sister, Lisa, who is 30, F, has always been the center of attention in our family. She is beautiful, charming, and knows how to get exactly what she wants. I was used to living in her shadow. I never minded it much. I had my own quiet life, my own friends, and now I had Mark. Our wedding was just 3 weeks away. I thought I was the happiest I had ever been. That feeling did not last. My bachelorette party was supposed to be a simple night out with my closest friends and my sister. Lisa insisted on planning it. She said she wanted to make it special for me. I should have known better. The night started well enough. We had dinner at a nice restaurant. Everyone was laughing and sharing stories. My best friend, Sarah, gave a sweet toast about how long she had waited to see me this happy. Then we went to a private room at a karaoke bar that Lisa had booked. After a few songs, Lisa gathered everyone around. She had a huge smile on her face. She said she had one more surprise for me. She connected her phone to the large television screen on the wall. "I just want everyone to see how much Clara is loved," she said. Her voice was syrupy sweet. A video started to play. It was a slideshow of pictures of me and Mark, set to our favorite song. It was touching at first. There were photos of our first date, our first vacation, the day he proposed. I felt my eyes welling up. Then the music stopped. The screen went black for a second. A new video began. It was shaky, like it was filmed secretly on a phone. The setting was a coffee shop I did not recognize. And there was Mark. He was sitting at a small table, leaning in close to a woman. It was not me. She was laughing at something he said, her hand resting on his arm. The camera zoomed in on their faces. They looked intimate. They looked comfortable. A caption appeared at the bottom of the screen. It was written in big, bold letters. "Look who he was with last Tuesday." My blood ran cold. The room fell silent. Everyone was staring at the screen, then at me. I could not breathe. It felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. Mark, my Mark, with someone else. A week before my bachelorette party, 3 weeks before our wedding. Lisa finally broke the silence. She rushed to my side, wrapping an arm around my shoulders. "Clara, I am so sorry," she said, her voice filled with fake sympathy. "I didn't know how to tell you. I thought you had to see it for yourself." I stared at the frozen image on the screen. Mark's smiling face. The woman's hand on his arm. It was undeniable. I felt a wave of nausea. Sarah came to my other side and took my hand. Her hand was warm. Mine was like ice. "Clara, are you okay?" she asked softly. I could not answer. I just shook my head. The party was over. The happy bubble I had been living in had just burst. All I could see was that image. All I could feel was the crushing weight of betrayal. My own sister had just shown my fiancé's infidelity to a room full of my friends. She said she was sorry, but I saw the look in her eyes. It was not sympathy. It was triumph. The ride home was a blur. Sarah drove me, and I sat in the passenger seat, staring out the window. I did not say a word. What was there to say? My life had just been turned upside down in the span of 30 seconds. Sarah tried to talk to me. She told me we would figure it out. She told me I was strong. I just nodded, unable to form words. When we got to my apartment, the one I shared with Mark, Sarah walked me to the door. "Do you want me to come in with you?" she asked. "I can stay." I shook my head. "No, I need to do this alone," I managed to whisper. It was the first time I had spoken since seeing the video. My voice sounded strange, like it belonged to someone else. "Call me if you need anything," she said, giving me a tight hug. "Anything at all, day or night." I promised I would. Then I went inside. The apartment was dark and quiet. Mark was not home yet. He was out with his own friends for his bachelor party. A fresh wave of sickness washed over me. Was he with her right now? Was he laughing with her, touching her, The same way he did in the video? I walked through our apartment like a ghost. I saw the wedding invitations stacked neatly on the kitchen counter. I saw the new coffee maker we had gotten as an early wedding gift. I saw the photo of us on the mantelpiece, both of us beaming. I felt nothing, just a deep, hollow ache in my chest. I went into our bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed. I did not turn on the light. I just sat in the dark, replaying the video in my head. The way she looked at him, the way his hand was so close to hers. The caption my sister had so helpfully added. Look who he was with. Lisa. Why would she do it like that? Why would she humiliate me in front of everyone? She said she wanted me to see the truth. But there were a million other ways she could have told me. A quiet phone call, a private conversation. She chose the most public, most painful way possible. It was a performance. And I was the unwilling star. I started to think about Lisa. She had always been competitive. When I got good grades, she had to get better ones. When I got a car, she had to get a nicer one. When I got engaged to Mark, she had been happy for me. Or so I thought. But now I saw her reaction in my mind's eye, the glint of victory, the poorly disguised glee. She was not sad for me. She was happy this was happening. An hour later, I heard the key in the lock. Mark was home. I did not move from my spot on the bed. I heard him walk into the kitchen. I heard him open the fridge. Then I heard him call my name. Clara? You home early? He walked into the bedroom and flipped on the light. He saw me sitting there and his smile faded. Hey, what's wrong? He asked, his voice filled with concern. You look like you've seen a ghost. I just looked at him. My fiancé. The man I was supposed to spend the rest of my life with. The man who was just caught on video with another woman. I felt a cold anger begin to replace the shock. It started in my stomach and spread through my veins. Where were you last Tuesday, Mark? I asked. My voice was flat, devoid of emotion. He looked confused. Last Tuesday? I don't know. At work, I guess. Why? Think harder, I said. Last Tuesday afternoon, around 3 o'clock. He frowned, clearly trying to remember. I think I had a late lunch meeting with a client. Why are you asking me this? What's going on? A client? I repeated. Is that what you call her? His confusion turned to alarm. Her? Clara, what are you talking about? You're scaring me. He came closer and tried to take my hand, but I pulled it away. Don't touch me, I said. The words came out sharper than I intended. He froze. He looked hurt. For a moment, I almost believed him. For a moment, I thought maybe there was a mistake. But then I remembered the video. The way they looked at each other. My sister showed me a video tonight, I said, my voice trembling slightly. At my bachelorette party, in front of all my friends. A video? He asked. What video? A video of you, Mark, I said. A video of you with another woman at a coffee shop last Tuesday. His face went pale. He stared at me, his mouth slightly open. He looked completely shocked. He did not look guilty. He looked terrified. What? He whispered. That's impossible. I wasn't with another woman. I saw it, Mark, I said, my voice rising. We all saw it. You were sitting with her. She had her hand on your arm. You were laughing. Don't lie to me. I am not lying, he said, his voice getting stronger. Clara, I would never do that to you. You have to believe me. Who was this woman? What did she look like? I don't know, I said, shaking my head. I've never seen her before. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you were with her. There has to be a mistake, he insisted. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing back and forth in our small bedroom. Your sister, Lisa showed this to you? Yes, I said. She said she was sorry, but she had to show me. He stopped pacing and looked at me. There was a strange look on his face. It was not guilt. It was something else. Something I could not quite read. Lisa, he said, almost to himself. Of course, she filmed it. I don't know who filmed it. I snapped. I don't care. I care that you cheated on me. I did not cheat on you, he said, his voice firm. He walked over to me and knelt on the floor in front of me so he was at my eye level. Clara, look at me. I love you. I would never, ever jeopardize what we have. There is an explanation for this. I just don't know what it is yet. I looked into his eyes. I saw desperation. I saw fear. But I did not see deception. It was confusing. My heart wanted to believe him. My head was screaming at me not to be a fool. I had seen the proof with my own eyes. Then explain it, I said, my voice barely a whisper. Explain the video, Mark. I can't, he said, looking defeated. I don't know what video you're talking about. I don't know who that woman is, but I know I didn't cheat. Can you get the video from Lisa? Let me see it, please. I thought about it, seeing it again, seeing his reaction to it. Fine, I said. I'll call her. I pulled out my phone. My hands were shaking. I found Lisa's name and pressed the call button. She answered on the second ring, her voice dripping with concern. Clara, are you okay? I've been so worried. Send me the video, I said, cutting her off. What? Why? She asked. Mark is here. He says he doesn't know what I'm talking about. He wants to see it. There was a pause on the other end of the line. For a second, I thought she was going to refuse. Then she said, Of course, I'll send it right now. I'm so sorry you have to go through this. She hung up. A moment later, my phone buzzed. The video was there. I opened it, my heart pounding in my chest. I did not want to watch it again, but I had to. I turned the phone so Mark could see. We watched it together in silence. The happy slideshow of our memories, then the abrupt cut to the coffee shop. I watched Mark's face as he saw himself on the screen. His eyes widened. He stared at the phone, his expression a mixture of disbelief and confusion. That's me, he said quietly. But I don't remember this. You don't remember meeting a strange woman at a coffee shop? I asked, my voice laced with sarcasm. No, I don't, he insisted. He took the phone from my hands and replayed the short clip. He zoomed in on his own face, then on the woman's. I don't know her. I have never seen her before in my life. He looked up at me, his eyes pleading. Clara, something is wrong here. This isn't real. It looks pretty real to me, Mark, I said, my voice cracking. Look, he said, pointing at the screen. Look at my shirt. I wore that shirt to work last Tuesday. I remember, but I went straight home after work. I didn't go to any coffee shop. Maybe you forgot, I suggested weakly. I wouldn't forget this, he said. He looked at the video again, his brow furrowed in concentration. And look at the coffee shop. I've never been there. I don't even know where that is. He was so convincing, so earnest. A tiny seed of doubt about the video began to sprout in my mind. Could he be telling the truth? But if he was, then what was the video? Was it fake? It looked so real. So what are you saying? I asked. That my sister faked a video to break us up? It sounded insane when I said it out loud. Lisa could be manipulative, but would she go that far? I don't know, Mark said, shaking his head. But something isn't right. Lisa, she's never liked me, has she? I thought about it. Lisa was always polite to Mark. She called him the perfect guy for me. But there was always a distance, a coolness in her eyes when she looked at him. She never seemed truly happy for us. She says she likes you, I said. She says that, he agreed. But I don't think she means it. She enjoys seeing you unhappy, Clara. I've seen it before. I remembered all the times Lisa had given me backhanded compliments. The times she had pointed out my flaws under the guise of being helpful. The way she always had to one-up me. Maybe Mark was right. Maybe this was just the ultimate one-up. Ruining my wedding. I need to think, I said. I stood up and walked out of the bedroom. I went to the living room and sank into the couch. My head was spinning. Who was lying? Mark, my fiancé, the man I loved and trusted? Or Lisa, my sister, the person who had known me my whole life? Mark followed me into the living room but kept his distance. He sat in the armchair across from me. He just watched me, his face etched with worry. I will prove it to you, he said quietly. I will prove that I didn't do this. I just need some time. I didn't respond. I just stared at the blank television screen, thinking about the other screen, the one that had shown me the video that had shattered my world. I felt so lost. I didn't know who to trust. But I knew one thing for sure. I had to find out the truth. My entire future depended on it. The next morning, I woke up on the couch. I had fallen asleep there, exhausted from the emotional turmoil. Mark was already up. He had made coffee. He placed a mug on the coffee table in front of me. Good morning, he said softly. Is it? I replied, my voice hoarse. He sat down in the armchair again. He looked like he had not slept at all. I was up all night thinking, he said. I think I know where to start. I took a sip of the coffee. It was hot and strong. It helped clear my head a little. Where? I asked. The coffee shop, he said. We need to find out where it is. If we can find the place, maybe we can find out what really happened. It was a logical first step. How do we find it? I asked. It could be anywhere. Let me see the video again, he said. I passed him my phone. He played the clip over and over, pausing it at different points. There, he said, pointing to a small logo on the coffee cup on the table. I can't quite make it out. It's too blurry. He fiddled with the phone, trying to enhance the image. After a few minutes, he sighed in frustration. It's no use. The quality is too low. He kept staring at the screen. Wait a minute, he said. Look in the background, through the window. I leaned in to look. Behind him in the video, through the large plate glass window of the coffee shop, you could see the street outside. There was a blurry sign for a dry cleaner across the street. Can you read the name? I asked. No, he said. But look at the color. It's green and yellow, and the font, it looks familiar. He pulled out his laptop and started searching for dry cleaners in our city with green and yellow logos. He pulled up image after image. Not this one. Not this one, he muttered to himself. After about 20 minutes of searching, he suddenly stopped. That's it, he said. I found it. He turned the laptop towards me. On the screen was a picture of a dry cleaner called Fresh Press. It had a bright green and yellow sign with the exact same font as the one in the video. Okay, he said, his voice gaining excitement. So this place is on the other side of town, near the old textile district. Now let's find the coffee shop. He used the address of the dry cleaner to search for coffee shops across the street. There were two. One was a large chain. The other was a small independent place called The Daily Grind. The pictures on its website matched the interior in the video perfectly. The small round tables, the dark wood chairs, the large window. That's the place, I said. I felt a small flicker of something. It was not hope, not yet. But it was something. We had a location. It was a start. Let's go there, Mark said, already standing up. Right now. What are we going to do? I asked. Just walk in and ask them if they remember you? Yes, he said. And we'll ask if they have security cameras. It was a long shot. The video was from a week ago, but it was better than sitting at home, drowning in my own misery. I agreed. I got dressed quickly. We did not talk much on the drive over. I was still numb, still suspicious. But a part of me, a part that loved Mark, was clinging to the possibility that he was telling the truth. The daily grind was exactly as it looked online. It was a cozy, quiet place. There were a few people sitting at tables, typing on laptops. We walked up to the counter. A young man with a beard was wiping it down. "Can I help you?" he asked. Mark cleared his throat. "Yes," he said. "This is a strange question, but were you working last Tuesday afternoon?" The barista frowned. "Last Tuesday?" "Yeah, I think so. I work most afternoons." "Why?" Mark pulled out his phone and showed him a still image from the video. He had cropped out the woman, so it was just a picture of him sitting at the table. "Do you remember seeing me here?" he asked. The barista squinted at the phone. "Maybe," he said slowly. "You look kind of familiar. We get a lot of people in here." "I was wondering if you have security cameras," Mark said. "We do," the barista said, pointing to a small dome camera in the corner of the ceiling. "But the footage gets deleted after 72 hours, for privacy reasons." My heart sank. A dead end. Mark looked disappointed too. "So there's no way to see the footage from last Tuesday?" he asked. "Nope," the barista said. "Sorry." We thanked him and walked away from the counter. We sat down at an empty table. The same table, I realized with a jolt, that Mark had been sitting at in the video. "So that's it?" I said, the small flicker of hope dying out. "The footage is gone." "Maybe not," Mark said, looking around the coffee shop. "People take pictures. They post them online. Maybe someone was here that day and took a photo. Maybe we're in the background of someone's selfie." It seemed like another long shot, but we had nothing to lose. We both took out our phones and started searching. We looked up the coffee shop on every social media platform. We looked at every photo that had been tagged with the location. We scrolled through hundreds of pictures of lattes, pastries, and people posing with their coffee. We spent over an hour searching. My eyes were starting to hurt from staring at the small screen. I was about to give up. I was about to tell Mark that this was pointless, that he was just delaying the inevitable. And then I saw it. It was a photo posted by a college student. It was a picture of her textbook and her coffee with the caption, "Midterm cram session." But in the background, reflected in the dark screen of her laptop, was a blurry image. It was the back of a person's head. A person with blonde hair sitting at the table where we were now. And standing next to the table, holding a phone up as if filming, was another person. I zoomed in as much as I could. The image was grainy, distorted. But there was no mistaking the person holding the phone. It was my sister, Lisa. My breath caught in my throat. I felt a chill run down my spine. It was her. She was there. She had been at the coffee shop. She had been the one filming. "Mark," I whispered. My voice was shaking. "Look at this." I showed him the phone. He leaned in, his eyes wide. He stared at the reflection for a long time. "Is that—" he started to say. "It's Lisa," I finished for him. "It's my sister." The pieces started to click into place. Lisa filming the video. Lisa showing it to me at my party. Lisa pretending to be concerned. It was all a lie, a carefully constructed plan to destroy my happiness. But why? Why would she do this? And who was the woman with Mark? If Lisa filmed it, she must have set the whole thing up. But how? "She was here," Mark said, his voice a low growl. "She filmed it herself. This whole thing. She set it up." The anger I had felt towards Mark was now redirecting itself, multiplying and focusing on one person, my sister. The hollow ache in my chest was being replaced by a cold, hard rage. "She's not going to get away with this," I said. My voice was steady now. The confusion was gone. The doubt was gone. All that was left was a burning desire for the truth and for justice. We left the coffee shop, a new, unified purpose between us. The question was no longer whether Mark had cheated. The question was what my sister had done and why. I felt like I was in a spy movie. We had our first piece of evidence, the reflection in the laptop. It was not much. It was blurry. Lisa could easily deny it. We needed more. We needed something concrete. "What do we do now?" I asked Mark as we got back in the car. "We need to find out who the woman is," he said. "Lisa obviously hired her. If we can find her, she's the key to everything." "How are we supposed to find her?" I asked. "She's a complete stranger." Mark started the car. He was silent for a moment, thinking. "Lisa isn't that creative," he said finally. "She would have used someone she knows, someone she could trust to keep a secret, or someone she could control." He was right. Lisa's circle was small. She had her work friends, her gym friends, and a few old friends from high school. But she was not close to many people. She liked to keep people at a distance. "Let's go back and look at the video again," I said. "Maybe we missed something about the woman. A piece of jewelry, a tattoo. Anything." We drove back to our apartment in a tense silence. When we got there, we sat on the couch and played the video on the television so we could see it on a bigger screen. We watched the 10-second clip over and over. We paused it on the clearest shot of the woman. She was pretty, with dark hair and bright blue eyes. She was wearing a simple black dress. I did not recognize her at all. "I've never seen her," I said to Mark. "She's not one of Lisa's friends that I know of." "Me neither," he said. He leaned closer to the screen. "Wait, look at her wrist." I looked. She was wearing a delicate silver bracelet. It had a small, unique charm on it. It looked like a tiny, stylized bird. "I've seen that bracelet before," I said, racking my brain. "Where have I seen it?" I thought back through all the parties, the family gatherings, the events I had attended with Lisa. I tried to picture her friends, what they wore, their accessories. And then it hit me. "Oh my God," I said. "I know who that is." "Who?" Mark asked, turning to me. "Her name is Chloe," I said. "She's not really a friend of Lisa's. She's more of an acquaintance. She works at a boutique that Lisa loves to shop at. I've seen her there a few times when I've gone with Lisa." "The bracelet?" Mark prompted. "Yes," I said. "The last time I was in the store with Lisa, Chloe was wearing that exact bracelet. I remember because Lisa commented on it. She said she wanted one just like it. Chloe told her it was a one-of-a-kind piece she had bought from a local artist." It all made sense. Chloe was not a close friend. She was someone Lisa had a transactional relationship with. Someone who might be willing to do a favor for a good customer, or for money. "We need to talk to her," Mark said. "How?" "We can't just accuse her," I said. "She'll deny everything, and she'll go straight to Lisa." "You're right," he said. "We need a plan. We need to be smart about this." We spent the next hour brainstorming. How could we get Chloe to talk? We could not threaten her. We could not bribe her because Lisa had probably already paid her. We had to find some other way. "What if we use Lisa?" I suggested. "What if we make Chloe think that Lisa is the one who sent us?" Mark looked at me, intrigued. "Go on," he said. "We could go to the boutique," I said, the plan forming in my mind. We find Chloe. We tell her that there's a problem with the video, that Lisa needs her help to fix something. We can be vague about the details, make her nervous, make her think she's in trouble. "And then what?" Mark asked. "And then," I said, a cold resolve hardening in my voice, "we get her to confess, and we record every word." The plan was risky. It could easily backfire. But it was the only thing I could think of. It was time to stop being a victim. It was time to fight back. The next day, I called in sick to work. Mark did the same. We had one mission: to find Chloe and get the truth. I dressed carefully. I wanted to look calm and collected, not like a woman whose life was falling apart. We drove to the boutique. It was a high-end store in a trendy part of town. I felt a knot of anxiety in my stomach as we walked in. The store was quiet. There was only one other customer. And there, behind the counter, folding a stack of expensive sweaters, was Chloe. She looked up as we entered. She recognized me. I saw a flicker of panic in her eyes before she quickly masked it with a professional smile. "Clara," she said, "what a surprise. Can I help you with something?" She did not acknowledge Mark, who was standing right next to me. "We need to talk to you, Chloe," I said, keeping my voice low and even. "It's about Lisa." Her smile faltered. "Lisa, is everything okay?" "Not really," I said. I glanced around the empty store. "Is there somewhere we can talk privately?" She hesitated. "I'm working," she said. "This will only take a minute," Mark said, his voice firm but not threatening. "It's important." Chloe looked from me to Mark, then back to me. She was clearly nervous. "Okay," she said finally. "We can go in the back." She led us through a curtained doorway into a small, cluttered stockroom. It was filled with boxes and racks of clothes. She turned to face us, crossing her arms over her chest. The silver bird bracelet glinted on her wrist. "What's this about?" she asked, her voice defensive. I took a deep breath. It was showtime. "Lisa sent us," I said. I tried to sound like I was on her side, like we were all in this together. "There's a problem with the video." Chloe's eyes widened. "A problem? What kind of problem?" "Someone saw her," I lied. "Someone saw her at the coffee shop filming, and now they're asking questions." Lisa's worried. This was the risky part. I was counting on Chloe being so scared of getting caught that she would believe anything. It worked. The color drained from her face. "Saw her? Who saw her?" "We don't know," Mark said, playing his part perfectly. "But Lisa is panicking. She needs to know exactly what you told Mark at the coffee shop. She needs to make sure your stories match." Chloe looked utterly terrified now. I didn't tell him anything," she stammered. "I just did what Lisa told me to do. I sat at the table, I laughed, I touched his arm. That was it. The whole thing was less than 5 minutes." My heart was pounding. She was admitting it. She was admitting it was all a setup. I glanced at Mark. He gave me a tiny, almost imperceptible nod. He had his phone in his pocket, recording everything. "And Mark didn't know you?" I pressed. "He didn't know who you were?" "No, of course not," she said, shaking her head frantically. "He was so confused. He kept asking me who I was and what I wanted. I just ignored him and kept smiling for the camera, just like Lisa told me to." She looked at me, her eyes pleading. "Lisa paid me $500, she said, her voice dropping to a whisper. "She said it was just a harmless prank. She said she was going to show it to you at the party to tease you, and then you would all laugh about it." A harmless prank. My entire world had been turned upside down for what she was calling a harmless prank. The rage inside me was so intense, it was all I could do to keep my face neutral. "She said it was a prank?" I asked, my voice dangerously quiet. "Yes," Chloe said. "She said you and your fiancé were too perfect, and she wanted to take you down a peg. She said you needed to be reminded that not everything is a fairy tale." Take me down a peg. The words echoed in my head. That was Lisa's motive. Not jealousy of Mark, not some twisted desire to have him for herself. Just pure, simple spite. She could not stand to see me happy. "Did she say anything else?" Mark asked. "No," Chloe said. "Just that I should play along, and that she would take care of everything. She promised no one would ever find out. She promised I wouldn't get in trouble." She started to cry. "I'm going to lose my job, aren't I? Oh God, I'm so stupid. I should have never listened to her." I felt a sliver of pity for her. She was just a pawn in Lisa's sick game. But she had still taken the money. She had still participated in the lie. "You should have thought of that before you agreed to help ruin my life," I said. my voice cold as ice. The fake sympathy was gone. Chloe looked up at me, her tear-streaked face filled with confusion. What? What do you mean? I thought Lisa sent you. Mark took his phone out of his pocket. He stopped the recording. Lisa didn't send us, he said. And you're right. You are going to lose your job, but that's the least of your problems. The full realization of what had just happened dawned on Chloe's face. She looked at the phone in Mark's hand, then at my face, which was now a mask of fury. She had confessed to everything, and we had it all on tape. You tricked me, she whispered. You helped my sister try to destroy my relationship and humiliate me in front of my friends and family. I corrected her. I think we're even. We left her there in the stockroom, sobbing amongst the designer clothes. I did not look back. As we walked out of the boutique and into the bright sunlight, I felt no triumph. No satisfaction. Just a deep, profound sadness. My own sister had done this to me. She had hated me this much, for this long, and I had never even known. The sadness did not last long. It was quickly consumed by a white-hot anger. She had tried to burn my life to the ground. Now, it was my turn. I was going to expose her. I was going to make sure everyone knew exactly who Lisa really was. We had the confession. It was a clean recording. Chloe admitted everything. Lisa's plan, the payment, the motive. It was all there. The question now was what to do with it. We could go to your parents, Mark suggested as we drove home. Play it for them. Make them see what Lisa did. I shook my head. No, I said. My parents have always favored her. They'll find a way to excuse it. They'll say she made a mistake. They'll tell me to forgive her for the sake of the family. They will try to sweep it under the rug. So what then? He asked. Go to the police? What she did. It's harassment, at least. No, I said again. That's too messy, and it won't give me what I want. What do you want, Clara? He asked gently. I was silent for a moment. What did I want? I wanted my happiness back. I wanted my wedding to be a joyous occasion, not something tainted by this drama. But more than that, I wanted Lisa to face consequences. Real consequences. I didn't want her to be able to charm her way out of this. I didn't want her to be able to twist the story and play the victim. I wanted everyone to see her the way I saw her now. Not as the charming, successful golden child, but as a cruel, manipulative person who would hurt her own sister for sport. I want to expose her, I said finally. Publicly, in the same way she tried to expose me. I want her to feel the same humiliation she made me feel. Mark nodded slowly. He understood. Okay, he said. So how do we do it? The perfect opportunity was just around the corner. Our rehearsal dinner. It was scheduled for the week before the wedding. It was going to be an intimate gathering. Just our immediate families and the wedding party. My parents would be there. Mark's parents would be there. And Lisa, my maid of honor, would be there. She would probably be expected to give a speech. A slow, cold smile spread across my face. The rehearsal dinner, I said. Mark looked at me. He saw the look in my eyes and he smiled back. The rehearsal dinner, he agreed. For the next 2 weeks, I lived a double life. On the surface, I was a heartbroken woman who had called off her wedding. I told my parents that Mark and I were taking a break to figure things out. I told them the wedding was postponed indefinitely. My mother cried. My father sighed and told me he was disappointed. And Lisa? Lisa was a masterpiece of fake sympathy. She called me every day. She told me how sorry she was. She told me I had done the right thing. He's not the man you thought he was, Clara, she said to me over the phone, her voice dripping with feigned sadness. I know it hurts now, but you'll thank me one day. I couldn't let you marry a cheater. It took every ounce of self-control I had not to scream at her, not to tell her that I knew everything. But I held my tongue. I played the part of the grateful little sister. I know, Lisa, I would say. Thank you for looking out for me. I don't know what I would do without you. Of course, she would say. That's what sisters are for. The lie was sickening, but it was necessary. I needed her to believe that her plan had worked. I needed her to walk into that rehearsal dinner feeling confident and victorious. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Mark and I were moving forward with our plans. We didn't cancel the wedding. We just changed it. We decided to get married on the same day, but we turned it into a small, private elopement. Just the two of us, Sarah and Mark's best man. We would have a big party later with the people who truly loved and supported us. But first, there was the rehearsal dinner. Or, as I was now calling it in my head, the reckoning. I called my parents and told them that even though the wedding was off, I wanted to go ahead with the rehearsal dinner. I said I wanted a chance for both families to get together and have some closure. They thought it was a strange idea, but they agreed. Lisa was thrilled. She saw it as her final victory lap. The night of the dinner arrived. I got ready with a strange sense of calm. I chose a simple, elegant red dress, a power color. Mark and I drove to the restaurant together. We held hands the whole way. We were a team. We were ready. When we walked into the private dining room, everyone was already there. My parents, Mark's parents, and Lisa sitting at the head of the table like a queen. She was wearing a white dress, as if she were the bride. The irony was not lost on me. She stood up when she saw us. She rushed over to hug me. "Oh, Clara," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "I'm so proud of you. I know how hard this must be." I hugged her back. "Thank you, Lisa," I whispered in her ear. "I couldn't have done it without you." She pulled back, beaming. She thought I was thanking her for saving me from Mark. She had no idea what was coming. We all sat down. The mood was awkward and tense. My parents looked sad. Mark's parents looked confused and angry. They had always loved me, and they couldn't understand what had happened. Mark and I sat next to each other, a silent, united front. Dinner was served. The small talk was excruciating. Finally, my father stood up. He tapped his glass with a fork. "I know this is a difficult night," he said, his voice heavy. "But I just want to say that we love you, Clara, and we support your decision. Family is the most important thing." He looked pointedly at Mark, then sat down. Then, Lisa stood up. This was the moment I had been waiting for. She had a piece of paper in her hand. A speech. She smiled her brilliant, fake smile. "I didn't think I would be giving this speech tonight," she began. "I thought I would be giving a maid of honor speech at a wedding. But things have changed, and I think they've changed for the better." She looked at me. "Clara, my dear sister, I have always looked out for you. And when I saw that you were about to make the biggest mistake of your life, I knew I had to do something. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but I did it because I love you." She was actually painting herself as a hero. The audacity was breathtaking. "I showed you the truth," she continued, her voice filled with emotion. "And I'm so proud of you for being strong enough to walk away. You deserve so much better. You deserve a man who is honest and faithful, not a man who would sneak around behind your back." She looked at Mark with contempt. Mark just stared back at her, his expression unreadable. She raised her glass. "So I would like to propose a toast," she said. "To my sister Clara, to her strength, her courage, and her new beginning. And to the truth, because the truth always comes out in the end." Everyone at the table looked uncomfortable. My mother had tears in her eyes. My father nodded in agreement. Mark's parents looked like they were about to explode. As Lisa sat down, basking in the glow of her own perceived righteousness, I stood up. I picked up my water glass. "I would also like to propose a toast," I said, my voice clear and steady. The whole room turned to look at me. "I want to thank my sister Lisa," I said, looking directly at her. "She's right. The truth does always come out in the end. and she's the one who taught me how important it is to find it. Lisa smiled, thinking I was still playing along. For the past 2 weeks, I continued, I have been pretending that my wedding is off. I have been pretending that Mark and I are broken up, but that was a lie. A lie I told for a very specific reason. The smiles faded. The room was silent. Lisa's face began to register confusion. You see, I said, after Lisa showed me that video, Mark and I did some investigating. We wanted to find out the whole truth, not just the part that Lisa wanted me to see. I took out my phone. I had connected it to a small portable speaker that I had placed on the table. Lisa told you all that Mark was cheating on me. She showed you a video as proof. But she left out a few key details. For example, she left out the part where she was the one who filmed it. I pressed play. The sound of Chloe's panicked voice filled the room. Lisa paid me $500, the recording said. She said it was just a harmless prank. She said she was going to show it to you at the party to tease you, and then you would all laugh about it. I let the recording play. The whole confession. Chloe explaining how Lisa had hired her, how she had told her what to do, how Mark had been confused and had no idea what was going on, how Lisa's motive was to take me down a peg. As the recording played, I watched Lisa's face. The color drained from it. Her confident smirk was replaced by a look of pure, abject horror. She stared at me, her mouth hanging open. She looked like a cornered animal. When the recording finished, there was a dead silence in the room. No one moved. No one spoke. They just stared at Lisa. My father was the first to speak. Lisa? He whispered. His voice was filled with disbelief. Is this true? Lisa just shook her head, unable to form words. She looked from her father to her mother, her eyes pleading for help. But for the first time in her life, no one was coming to her rescue. My mother was staring at her, her face a mask of shock and disappointment. Lisa, she said, her voice trembling. How could you? Mark's parents were looking at her with pure disgust. His mother stood up. You are a sick, cruel person, she said, her voice shaking with rage. To do that to your own sister. To do that to our son. You are evil. Lisa finally found her voice. It's not what it sounds like, she stammered, looking around the table desperately. She's twisting my words. That girl, Chloe, she's lying. Is she? I asked calmly. Because I also have this. I pulled a small photo out of my purse and tossed it on the table. It was the screenshot from the college student's laptop. The blurry but undeniable reflection of Lisa in the coffee shop, holding up her phone. You were there, Lisa, I said. You filmed it. You planned the whole thing. You hired a stranger to trick my fiancé, and you edited the video to make him look guilty. And then you showed it to me at my own bachelorette party, in front of all my friends, just to humiliate me. I paused, letting the words sink in. You didn't do it to protect me, I said, my voice rising with all the anger I had been suppressing for weeks. You did it because you couldn't stand to see me happy. You have never been able to stand it. My happiness has always been a threat to you. You had to be the star. You had to be the one who was better, more successful, more loved. Tears were streaming down Lisa's face now. They were not the fake tears I was used to. They were real tears of shame and panic. I'm sorry, she sobbed. Clara, I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. I wasn't thinking. A mistake? I laughed, a bitter, humorless sound. This wasn't a mistake. This was a calculated, malicious attack on my life. You tried to destroy the best thing that has ever happened to me. For what? To feel better about your own miserable life? I looked at my parents. And you, I said, my voice shaking with a lifetime of hurt. You enabled her. You have always enabled her. You let her get away with everything. You always took her side. You always made me the one who had to be more understanding, more forgiving. Well, I'm done. I'm done being the bigger person. I turned back to Lisa. You are no longer my maid of honor. You are no longer invited to my wedding. In fact, you are no longer a part of my life. I am done with you. I took Mark's hand. Mark and I are getting married tomorrow. I announced to the stunned room, and we are going to be very, very happy, without any of you. I looked at my parents. Don't call me. Don't text me. I need time. A lot of time. Then Mark and I stood up and we walked out of the restaurant. We left them all sitting there in the wreckage of Lisa's lies. The silence was deafening. We didn't look back. The feeling of walking out of that restaurant was indescribable. It was like a massive weight had been lifted from my shoulders. A weight I had been carrying my entire life. For the first time, I had stood up for myself. I had fought back. And I had won. Mark and I got into the car. For a moment, we just sat there in silence. Then he turned to me. Are you okay? He asked. I looked at him, my wonderful, loyal fiancé, who had stood by me through this whole nightmare. I felt a surge of love for him that was so powerful, it almost took my breath away. I'm better than okay, I said. And I leaned over and kissed him. The next day was our wedding day. It was nothing like the big, fancy wedding we had originally planned. And it was absolutely perfect. We got married in a small, beautiful garden. The only people there were me, Mark, Sarah, and Mark's best man, Tom. The sun was shining. The birds were singing. It was peaceful. It was real. As I stood there, saying my vows to Mark, I felt a sense of calm and certainty that I had never felt before. This was right. This was my life. And I was in control of it. After the ceremony, the four of us went out for a celebratory lunch. We laughed and told stories. There was no drama, no tension, just joy. My phone buzzed in my purse. I ignored it. I knew it was my parents or Lisa or some other family member trying to reach me. I didn't care. They were not my problem anymore. Later that evening, Sarah and I were sitting on the balcony of my and Mark's hotel suite, looking out at the city lights. I'm so proud of you, she said. What you did last night? That took incredible courage. I was so scared, I admitted. But I was more angry than I was scared. I just couldn't let her win. She didn't win, Sarah said. She lost everything. Her reputation. The respect of her family. You. I knew she was right. I had heard from one of my cousins that the fallout from the dinner had been catastrophic for Lisa. My parents were apparently giving her the silent treatment. Mark's parents had told everyone in their extended family what she had done. The story was spreading. The golden child's halo had been shattered. Do you think you'll ever talk to her again? Sarah asked. I thought about it for a moment. I thought about all the years of small cruelties, of backhanded compliments, of being made to feel small. I thought about the video and the look of triumph in her eyes. No, I said with a certainty that surprised even myself. I don't. Some things can't be forgiven, and some people don't deserve forgiveness. I took a sip of my champagne. The bubbles tickled my nose. I felt light. I felt free. Lisa had wanted to be the star of my downfall. She had planned it. She had orchestrated it. She had dreamed of it. But in the end, she had only succeeded in writing her own tragedy. She had tried to destroy my happy ending, and in doing so, she had ensured that she would never be a part of it. She was just a ghost from a past life, a life I had now left behind. My new life, with my husband, was just beginning. And it was going to be beautiful. The days following our elopement were quiet. Mark and I were in our own little bubble of happiness. We had turned off our phones. We wanted to enjoy the beginning of our marriage without any interruptions from the mess we had left behind. When we finally turned our phones back on a few days later, the floodgates opened. I had dozens of missed calls and text messages. Most were from my parents. Some were from aunts, uncles, and cousins. And one, surprisingly, was from Lisa. I opened my parents' texts first. They were a predictable mix of anger, confusion, and pleas for me to call them. "Clara, what you did was cruel," my mother had written. "Your sister is a mess. You need to fix this." Fix this. As if I was the one who had broken it. I felt a familiar pang of frustration, but it was distant now. It didn't have the same power over me anymore. My father's message was more subdued. "We need to talk as a family. This has gone too far." I deleted their messages without replying. I knew that any conversation with them right now would just be them trying to guilt me into forgiving Lisa. I was not ready for that. I might never be. Then, I looked at Lisa's message. It was long, a wall of text. "Clara, I know you hate me right now," it began, "and you have every right to. What I did was horrible and unforgivable. I have been doing a lot of thinking, and I realize now that I have been jealous of you my whole life. Jealous of your kindness, your quiet strength, the way people are drawn to you. I was always the loud one, the one who needed attention. And when you got engaged to Mark and you were so happy, I couldn't stand it. I wanted to ruin it. It was a sick, twisted thing to do, and I will regret it for the rest of my life. I know you don't want to see me or talk to me, and I understand. But I just wanted you to know how truly sorry I am. I have lost everything, and I deserve it. I hope one day you can find it in your heart to forgive me. But if you can't, I understand that too." I read the message twice. It was the most honest, self-aware thing I had ever heard from my sister. For a fleeting moment, I felt a flicker of the old sisterly bond, a pang of sympathy for her pain. But then I remembered. I remembered the cold calculation in her eyes. I remembered the humiliation I felt at my party. I remembered the pain she had put Mark through. An apology, no matter how sincere it seemed, could not erase that. I showed the text to Mark. He read it carefully. "What do you think?" I asked him. "I think she's sorry she got caught," he said. "And I think she's sorry she's facing consequences. But is she sorry for what she did? I'm not so sure." He was right. Her apology was all about her jealousy, her regrets, her pain. It was still all about Lisa. I typed a reply. It was short. "I'm glad you understand," I wrote. Then I blocked her number. The next few weeks were a process of setting new boundaries. I finally called my parents back. The conversation was difficult. My mother cried and accused me of tearing the family apart. "I didn't do this, Mom," I said, my voice firm. "Lisa did, and you and Dad let her. This isn't about me versus her. This is about right and wrong, and what she did was wrong." "But she's your sister," my mother sobbed. "And she betrayed me in the worst possible way," I replied. "I need you to understand that. I need you to stop making excuses for her. My relationship with you depends on it." It was an ultimatum, and it felt strange and powerful to say it, but I meant it. I could not have a relationship with my parents if they were going to continue to prioritize Lisa's feelings over mine. It took a few more conversations, but eventually something shifted. They started to listen. I think seeing me married and happy without their approval or involvement made them realize that I was serious. I was an adult, and I would not be manipulated anymore. They started going to family therapy, with and without Lisa. It was a long road, but it was a start. As for Lisa, the consequences of her actions continued to ripple outwards. Chloe, the girl from the boutique, was fired from her job. The owner of the boutique was a friend of Mark's mother, and when she heard the story, she was horrified. Chloe also told a few of her friends what had happened, and the story of Lisa's scheme became a piece of local gossip. Lisa, who had always cared so much about her image, was now known as the crazy, jealous sister. She ended up quitting her job and moving to another city to start over. I heard from a cousin that she was miserable. I couldn't find it in myself to care. 6 months after our wedding, Mark and I threw a big party to celebrate with all our friends and family. My parents came. They were quiet and respectful. They talked to Mark and his parents. They told me they were proud of me. It was still a little awkward, but it was a step in the right direction. Lisa was not there. No one even mentioned her name. It was as if she had been erased from our lives. Standing in the middle of a room full of people who loved us, holding my husband's hand, I felt a deep sense of peace. The storm was over. We had survived it. We were stronger for it. The whole ordeal had taught me a valuable lesson. It taught me to trust my instincts. It taught me to stand up for myself. And it taught me that sometimes the most toxic people in your life are the ones who are supposed to love you the most. Cutting them out is not an act of cruelty. It's an act of self-preservation. I still have the video on my phone. The one Lisa sent me. I don't know why I keep it. Maybe as a reminder. A reminder of the betrayal. A reminder of the pain. But also a reminder of my own strength. Sometimes when I'm feeling down, I watch it. I watch the shaky footage of Mark in the coffee shop. I watch the cruel caption appear on the screen, and I remember the cold dread I felt in that moment. But then, I close the video, and I look at my husband, sleeping peacefully beside me in our bed. I look at the life we have built together, a life filled with love, trust, and mutual respect. And I smile. Because Lisa may have started the fire, but I was the one who walked out of the ashes, stronger and more determined than ever. She tried to write my tragedy, but instead, she became a forgotten character in my love story. And that is the best revenge of all. The truth did come out, and it set me free.